Hey everyone, I have a very exciting show for you today. I have a very experienced real estate investor who I found, leveraging my network. And what I liked about her story is she's already pivoting. She's taking advantage of what's in front of us. She's being aggressive and she is doing deals. So let's welcome Laura Patterson to the show. How you doing, Laura?
Good. I'm going to turn off my phone so it's not going every 5 seconds.
Very cool, Laura. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are in the country, and what you do in this crazy real estate world?
I'm in Virginia, and I invest from Northern Virginia, Richmond, all the way down to the beach, so a pretty wide area. Been doing this about 30 years. Started off as a real estate agent, went pretty much in the first year into flipping houses, and just kind of have pivoted through most of real estate investing. We're focusing right now on just wholesaling and taking down sub-2 deals and creative deals. I don't think cash deals will be back on our plate again until maybe next year. Maybe next summer they'll start.
Yeah, so we will talk a lot about that because that's what caught my attention. In your note was a sub-2 deal that you were wholesaling. I'm like, yeah, Laura gets it. But before we get there, let's unpack your 30 years experience, because that
Okay.
means you started in the early 90s?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, actually in 88 is when I became a realtor.
Okay.
But in between, I opened a lot of businesses. So I still have tobacco stores, a furniture store, but I had a slew of restaurants and bars back then. And I made great money. I just didn't know what to do with the profits. So I was young, and I just started piling them all into real estate. And that's how real estate kind of took over. I still have a lot of the other businesses, but I'm not very hands-on with those anymore.
Very cool. So in the 90s, would it
And
be fair to say you were buy and hold at that time?
in the 90s, I was buy and hold, but it was totally different. You're talking about interest rates were crazy back then. So interest rates like from the bank were like 14 to 17%. And what we were doing is almost like sub-2s. It was, we were assuming loans because loans were assumed. So I had a really successful restaurant. It was just bringing in lots of cash, and it seemed like at the end of each month, assume another loan, and take these over as rental properties. And maybe, I don't know, then I started having kids, and maybe about 10 years in, it got to be like I didn't want to be a property manager anymore. And I wasn't wise enough to hire a property manager. I was like, I'm sick of this. I'm selling my whole portfolio. Sold it all, and I had a chain of tobacco stores as well. And those were bringing in mad cash. I did some overseas investing. Bought a hotel overseas, bought some commercial property here, but I was trying to stay away from single family. I was just really burnt out on the 2 a.m. phone calls that my toilet was blocked or whatever. Now coming back into it, once I got back into it, when my kids were about in middle school, I did it a little differently. I set up and got property managers in place, and got my own, they're my own property managers that work within the company, have my own maintenance crews, have my cleaning crews. So it's a little easier this time. I wasn't personally going over to unclog their toilet like I was 20.
Yeah, definitely a big difference when you can afford to have somebody else get those 2 a.m. phone calls. We've had property managers since day one, so I would never.
I do a lot of the work because I like, but now I just do the stuff that I like to do. Like just finished doing a renovation, and I finished the flooring, and I'm getting ready to do the tile backsplash. I just pick and choose the fun stuff.
Wow, you're kind of sick. You think refinishing floors is fun and tile backsplash is fun?
Yeah, for me, it's really peaceful. I just put my music on. This was 1,800 square feet, and I knocked it out in 3 days. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, I like doing that. It's very, very peaceful. I don't know. Other people knit. I like flooring. And I like doing, this was LPV, so it was really easy.
Yeah, snap in place. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to do a lot of yoga on those days because your back will kill you.
Yeah, no joke. Well, that's cool. So let's fast forward the 90s. Interest rates come down. I guess we had the dot-com crash in the early 2000s. I'm not sure, did that really impact Virginia at all?
No.
Yeah.
.com, not so much. And in 2008, when we had the market crash, there were parts like Richmond, Virginia was very stable. We had enough of the big companies there. I think we got Time Life headquarters, Philip Morris headquarters, One headquarters. It didn't really, wasn't as bad as the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Now down at it crashed. I'm at right now down in Virginia Beach, and you can pick up properties for 30 cents on the dollar. So I started doing the focusing there, and then my long-term rentals are mostly up in Richmond. I've got like 20 long-term rentals up in Richmond and some commercial properties, and then down here at the beach, I'm still picking up for short-term rentals.
Very cool. So you did have parts of the market, the beach in that case, that were 30 cents on the dollar. That's what we saw in some California markets, right? It really crashed. So, so 2008 rolls over. Tell me about 2010, 11. That was my most active year. Was that a pretty active year for you too? That was pretty close to the bottom in most markets.
2008 was great for me. 2009, 2010, 2011, they were awesome years for me. But I was really positioned well. I've never done loans. I've never done hard money loans or bank loans. I've always used my own cash.
Okay.
So I was really positioned to get in there and pick up deals. And that's where I started doing a lot of sub twos as well. Because it took, instead of taking, $20,000 and putting it down on a property, I basically would assume people were, handing me deals like, we don't want any money, just take over the mortgage payment. So it was like $2,000 to close. You could pick up 10 of those for the cost of putting your cash into other deals. So it just became a great avenue for me, and we've kind of stuck with that till now. The only way I really do a cash deal, it just has to be something fantastic.
Yeah.
It has to be something I just can't work with.
Yeah. So let's talk about the sub two deals as they kind of built up in 08, 09, and you're still doing them now. Again, somebody would probably be an owner occupant most likely and just say, I'm done, right? I want out, take over the payment. Now, were you just turning those into rentals, or were you taking those and lease optioning out so you would get the money back, or what was the kind of, how'd you exit?
Lease option, all of mine, I'd like to keep the properties. So I was taking them down, keeping them. Sometimes I bought 3 where I rehabbed them all, kept them as rentals for 2 years, and then flipped them. The market turned around in that area. So some of them were just, renting until the prices got back to where I wanted to sell them. Now lease option and owner financing them out is going to be the exit strategy, and wholesaling them, probably for the majority of mine. I'm very picky about what I take down for myself. It really has to meet a really strict criteria.
Right.
And the one you saw that I put up is a fantastic deal. I'm really tempted to close it myself. It's just outside of my area that I service. So it would be, it's not huge, but I'm the lazy investor. It's about 40 minutes from that right now. And I'm trying to cluster them together. I know that's probably not a good way to diversify, but I do try and cluster them close together so they're easy to maintenance. But sub twos have really, for me, my leads coming in have gone up at least 3-4 times in the past 2 weeks. So those deals are really, if you're marketing for them, they're out there. I think you're probably going to see the owner finance people as the year into next year. You'll start seeing more owner financing once the foreclosures start to hit, which I think will probably be like next January and March. You're going to start seeing them getting them off the table after Christmas.
Yeah.
People who then want to sell their house and they have it paid off are going to be competing with the banks. So they're not going to want to reduce their price. They're going to owner finance them out. So there'll be a great opportunity there. And next summer too, I think it's going to be a really good opportunity.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because I think it's amazing we see the world the same way. I have about 20 years experience. So you got a decade on me. I did not invest in the 90s. I started in 2002. So I saw the crash up close and personal. So I've been there, survived that, prospered. So I guess we do see the world the same way, right? So this year is going to be all about owner occupants getting forbearance, right? Kind of extend and pretend, right? Hence the late Q4, probably, you're right, probably post-Christmas, right? Like, I don't know, 10, 20, 40% of those aren't going to be able to make up that mortgage payment, right? Which is,
Exactly.
So that becomes a short sale or a foreclosure or some kind of forced sale. And you're right, owner occupants or people who own free and clear property, yeah, they're going to compete with the bank again. That's what I saw in 2010. So
Exactly.
it's pretty cool. So let's talk
Yeah, and
about
wholesaling, if you don't switch up your wholesaling game now, you're not going to be able to compete when the, I remember when in 2010, when wholesalers would come with a deal and they would say, look, I got this great deal. These people paid $250 for this house. I can wholesale it to you for $170. And I said, I just picked up the other two houses from the bank right next door for $90,000 a piece. Wholesaling, you're not going to be able to compete with the banks. You better find another strategy. You better start working on your creative wholesaling.
yeah, I want to say that again because you're absolutely right. I bought 40 properties in 2010 at land value that had houses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and wholesalers, I mean, wholesalers have to reset their entire mindset right now, or they're going to go out of business. Their marketing costs are going to bleed them out. Their overhead's going to bleed them out. Because you're right, if you bring me a wholesale deal at 170, but I can buy it at the bank for 90, you're toast.
Right.
Right.
Now, you could bring that wholesale deal at 170 and it was owner financed. Maybe you've got something
different
to offer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd rather not buy 90K cash out and pay you a $10,000 assignment to sub to it, to owner finance it. Then I can pick up 10 of those properties.
Oh, for sure. There is no doubt. I will gladly overpay, right? Overpay, if you will, if I can set the terms, right? Yeah, I'll pay you 170, but yeah. So so it's so fun to talk to someone who's got decades experience. So let's actually talk about the deal just so people can level set that you brought that I saw. I think it was on Jim Ingersoll's Facebook groups page.
Right.
Why don't we first talk about how you found it? Then we'll talk about the deal and then the exit.
So I use Investor Carrot. I'm giving them a nice little plug.
Yeah.
Investor Carrot drives all my leads. I have 4 different websites. I have takeovermymortgage.com, virginiamortgagerelief.com, and webuyvahouses.com. And then my other ones are, I have a lease option page, and I have for investors to register. That's the one you saw. When I get one under contract, I put the full information. I don't put the street address. You have to come and register at my website. So
exactly.
But that lead came in. That came in through the takeovermymortgage.com. So she had spent some time on the website, educated herself, and said, hey, I bought this house. That house was in really good condition. It just maybe needs to, the color choices weren't my choices for paint. And there was a hole behind one of the doors that opened, but new roof, new HVAC, and all in the past 10 years had been remodeled, kitchen had been updated. So it's a good deal. It's tax assessed for $129. She owed $65,000 remaining on the loan. ARV in last month's market would have been $141. I don't know what it is today.
Sure.
Really, it could be anywhere. But the mortgage payments were $895 a month PITI and 4.1% fixed interest rate. She's already paid on it for 6 years, so it's a good buy. It's a good solid buy. It could rent Section 8 for $1,100 a month.
Okay.
We would not do that. If I have 2 guys that are interested, I think we'll have a contract by the end of today, and both of them want to buy it and lease option it back out. And that's really the exit strategy that I see. If you lease option it back out, you can make anywhere from $68,000 to $100,000 on the back end, depending on how you structure it. With the JP Morgan now changing the whole game, where now you have to have a 700 credit score and 20% down, owner financing and lease optioning is just going to crush the market. You can get these, and this is nice because it has a 1.5 car detached garage, which is ideal for a lot of the Latin community. They come in, they're flourishing right now with roofing business, siding businesses, but don't have the credit score. They've got the cash. They can come in and drop, down on the cash, and it's got a 1.5 car garage for them to park all their equipment for their business. So to me, it's if either one of these guys don't take it, that's what I'll end up doing. I'll end up lease optioning it out. But I'm trying to just really wholesale things off that aren't in my area and build my cash for next summer. I think next summer is just going to be off the hook with deals.
So next summer, just so we're clear, that's 2021 summer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. Very good.
Yeah. So I'm
let's
really coming up to wholesale a lot of deals coming up to my cash to take down more deals for me. So.
There you go. So let's make sure people understand how you see the 60,000 plus in profit for one of these two guys that may be buying it. So, so you locked it up at something like,
65.
so you're literally taking over the mortgage, 65.
Yeah, she doesn't get a dime.
Okay.
So all you would start with your, you have your closing costs on it. For this type of property, it'd be under 2,000 for closing
$2,000.
costs. So,
yeah. Okay.
And what I would do to lease option it back out is try and get a 10% down payment at the new purchase price, 160. Even though the ARV is really 141, you're lease optioning. You can lease option it for 5 years and then turn around and owner finance it if they still don't qualify. You can owner finance it to them at whatever you want. You're the bank. You don't have to go through an approval process. You can sell it for 170. Interest rate is a great interest rate. So you're going to make money up front. Let's say you take 10% down on sell it at 160. Well, that's 16 grand down in your pocket, right? You're beating the banks. They want 20% down now.
Yeah.
Pick somebody with a 650 credit score. Do their monthly payments at 1,100. Cash flow nicely on it. And then on the back end is where you're going to make that big bang for your buck. So if they do qualify, if you put them with a credit repair specialist and you get their credit score up to 700, apply the 16,000 that they gave me toward their down payment. So now they only have to come up with the additional 10% to qualify for the loan. They qualify the loan and you get paid out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally 3 to 5 years time, you get a nice chunk of change. If they can't qualify, some people just don't get it. You can put them with a credit specialist and, the day before closing, they end up buying a new truck or something.
Yeah.
they themselves. You can turn it around and owner finance it to them. Just your payout's going to be greater, but it's going to be longer over a longer period. I'm 50, so I'm not thrilled about a 30-year mortgage.
Yeah.
But for younger people, it's a great option. If you're 20 years old, I would be definitely owner financing my deals right now.
Oh yeah, stack that income for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So just so we're clear, I'm 48 since we're sharing ages, so we're right around the same. So just so we can round out this the exit, right? The lease option. What would your monthly payment be, right? So you get 10% now. You set it 160. What do you think the payment you'd ask for? Just estimate.
I would ask, I have a friend that really does a lot of lease options. He has a sliding scale payment, and I like that idea. So, he has it set up on his website. Like, let's say your credit score is 550. Well, your payment is a little higher. The lower your credit score, the higher your payment. So let's say you're at 680. The mortgage payment on this is $895. He would probably do it for $950. He would just cash flow, $75 a month if you have a higher credit score. But for me, I would probably offer this up at $1,100. It's the current going rent for this for Section 8. I would offer it $1,100. You cash flow $300 and some change. Then you're going to make your cash. You'll make your 16 up front. Yep. And then so your back end, you're going to make fantastic. If you're going to lease it with the option and they're going to buy it out in 5 years, you're probably in the 60 range, 60 to 68,000.
Yeah.
If you're going to own or finance it, you're a lot higher. You're probably in the $150,000 pitch on the back end. So, it's situational to what's your lifestyle. Do you need that cash now? Yeah. Or do you want 10 of those and guarantee your cash flow for the next 30 years? You're going to have a nice cash flow coming in. So
very, very cool. And again, this is, this went up, what is it, on like Monday or something? Tuesday? What day is it today? Wednesday?
We put it under contract yesterday morning, and I put it on an hour later, and we had probably 6 people that were interested and 2 were solid buyers. 2 people were moving forward and getting their money together. and ours is first come. Whoever
Yeah.
shows up with that. This is basically a $20,000 assignment.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. And we've had 2 people that are kind of competing to get their 20,000 to get it. It's a great location, a great area. If the economy was still good, I would have definitely taken it because it's a great Airbnb area because there's hospitals all around. So I would have taken it and rented it to traveling nurses. I would have sectioned off and then done it to traveling nurses, which would have been probably a little close to 5 times the long-term rental price.
Wow.
So you probably bring $6,000 a month off of it, doing it as a short-term to nurses. Yeah.
So how many nurses do you think you would have gotten in there?
Well, I think you could have, there's 3 bedrooms in it. So you could have done 3 individual rooms. The garage could have then also converted to a studio.
Ah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that could have competed with it. And so with the traveling nurses, they're usually in our area around $950 a month. But they sign a 13-week contract. If you Airbnb'd it, you would make more money they pay a lot higher than the traveling nurses. So I would say their Airbnb'ing it would be closer in the 6,000 range. Doing the traveling nurses, be 4,000.
Very cool. All right. So I'm curious. So again, somebody who's got 30 years experience, I'm impressed with how fast you pivoted your business. There are so many people that have been in this game for 5 or 6 years. All they have known is the best of times, and that's going to sucker punch them. So I'm curious, January, you're probably running like you did in December. How fast did you pivot, and when did you pivot?
I pivoted when I heard this was in China.
Oh, really?
I'm a conservative investor, but everybody always says I'm a depression baby. Also, when this was in China, I stocked up. I went out and bought an extra fridge. I had a feeling that this was going to be, airplanes nowadays, how long is it going to take to get to the U.S.?
Yeah.
So I started gearing my advertising. Instead of the We Buy Houses for Cash website, I started switching it over to my 2 other sites that are the Take Over My Mortgage.
Yeah.
So that was 4 weeks ago. I ordered 1,000 bandit signs. Can't pay your mortgage. So kind of stocked up on those, and we've been putting them out, and it's really driving the traffic for us.
Yeah.
But I already had a good base with my websites. They were already ranked pretty well. So it wasn't a hard transition. Most of the people we get through are through Google search or Facebook ads or bandit signs. Those are our 3 top lead sources for us. I don't really do any outbound marketing. I don't do any cards or cold calling or text blasts.
Yeah. All right. So you keep saying us and we.
The lazy investor.
The lazy investor. I don't think you're all that lazy. I think you're very efficient. There's a difference. When you keep saying us, how big is the team, right? Is it just you and a significant other? Is it you and an army of virtual assistants? Or
So it's my company, and I have a couple of acquisition agents, and they're all independent. They don't just work for me. They work for other people, and I do 50% of the assignment. So if I send you on a lead and you get it, my acquisitions agents get 50% of the deal.
There you go.
That's not typical
industry.
No, other people get mad, like, stop telling people you pay them that much. But I don't know. Investing for me is fun more than I'm not the Learjet. I really like it. I like the hunt of the deal and getting the deal. So I'm just older, and it's a little different of a place.
So these folks are 1099s, if anything.
They're 1099.
Yeah.
And then my ex-husband is a realtor. So he also lists, we always have a trade. I manage his Airbnbs. He lists my properties for free.
Okay.
And I use his MLS as well. And I do a lot of his marketing. He's not very computer savvy, so I run his sites, his marketing and advertising. He really does a lot, and he's been flipping for as long as I have. So he's really good for me. Like I was telling you, I had plumbing issues this morning, and I was on the phone with him right away. Like, what's going on? What's going on? So we talk probably 10 times a day on real estate issues. Yeah. And then I have a maintenance crew, an Airbnb cleaning crew, and my ex-husband handles the property management. Once again, it's one of those, he doesn't charge me for handling, he doesn't charge me for handling the property management. We just have a good relationship. But honestly, he's that type of guy who cannot, he doesn't know how to make a flyer. He doesn't know how, I don't think he's been on Facebook. I don't think he's ever logged. He has a Facebook because I created one for him, but he doesn't know how to manage his own page or his own website. So he just call me and say, do this, do that. I'm like, all right, I'll do it.
All right. That's cool. That's a good partnership. Give and take both ways. That's good. So I'm curious. So let's fast forward. It's 2023, 2024. We're certainly coming out of this. We're maybe not back to what 2019 was, but we're on the other side of the chasm. What do you hope you've done? I mean, have you tripled your Airbnbs? Have you tripled your buy and holds? What are you hoping happens on the other side?
I don't have a specific number set. Like I kind of set goals. Like I go, all right, I want to get 10 Airbnbs this year. I want to pick up 10 new Airbnbs. But honestly, if I get 3 that are just fantastic, they're on the beach, they're the price that I wanted, I'm happy. Rather just have a couple that tick off all my lists than to get stuck with some that I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I get that one? You know? So I probably will be buying mine with Airbnb in mind in the future. I think Airbnb is the same boat. Right now, I'll take down the ones that I'm taking down sub 2. I'll probably put them as a long-term rental right now.
Yeah.
And more than likely Section 8. I like that guaranteed check.
Me too.
And then as the market picks back up, I think Airbnb by next summer is going to be 50% of the hosts are going to dropped out and switch to long-term or gone into foreclosure or sold them. I think next summer will be the time to re-kick them open. You'll come back and you'll get close to what we were making then. The unit that I'm in right now, this one was renting for $300 a night. Now I'm renting it for $72 a night.
Wow.
So it's a huge difference. Hoping next summer that we'll be back up into the 200s. When the next summer comes around, that people will be traveling more. I don't think that this summer.
No.
This summer, I still, I think that I still have a lot of bookings for June, July, and August that haven't canceled. I'm hoping that they'll open it back up, but on my other days, I've already adjusted the prices. I'm not even trying to get close to what we normally rent.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. I think there are markets that are Airbnb heavy, beach towns, as you've said a couple of times. Those markets will be vastly different. Price points are going to get slammed. Not many people can carry it at $72 a night versus 300. It will just be less competition, and you'll be able to cherry pick deals, right? Oh, I want that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm luckily, I'm in the position, like I said, I have that depression baby mentality, but I always have 6 months reserves for each one of my properties. So I'm not really, last month I still brought in decent money. This month, no. Next month, no. The next 2 months are going to be very little. I have 10 in a couple of my units, but it really reduced. If I'm getting close to what I have on the mortgage payment on these sub 2s, I'm happy with that. Just pick up, just bleed a little bit instead of massively. But going into my deal structures now, I'm not for the sub 2s. I'm of course in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about what they potentially can do as an Airbnb in the future. But I have to, in reality, say, will this cash flow or at least break even as a long-term rental? If not as a long-term rental, it's got to go to a lease option. That's the only way to be able to work for me.
Yeah, you need that solid plan B, right? You need to be able to survive so you can thrive later.
Yeah. I think you should be able to have 2 or 3 exit strategies that'll work. So if you miscalculated on one, what if rents just drop back? You don't know. The last in 2008, they didn't drop back, but they didn't increase for 9 years.
Yes.
We couldn't raise 9 years,
Same for me.
So you can't say, well, this will be a long-term rental and okay, I won't make any profit. I'll just break even and pay the mortgage for 9 years. You're going to have some repairs. You're probably going to have an HVAC, roof, hot water heater go during that time. So you are going to bleed. So it can't be that close in number. it's got to have some cash flow coming in.
Yeah. So let's close this out with two questions for likely viewers of this channel. Let's assume you have 5 years, 3 to 5 years experience. You've got a couple of deals under your belt, but you have only known the last 5 years. What would and you could be an Airbnb host, a super host, whatever. You could be a landlord. You could be a wholesaler, a flipper. All of them are now experiencing their first downturn, their first change in lending. Everything is different, and they may not know it. What would you tell or advise that kind of person?
I think with realtors, and I've said this probably 3 times this week to people who have called me on the phone and asked me about, what they should do. Realtors, if you're not short sale certified or REO certified, get online, take the course. If it's online in your area, that's where the money's going to be for realtors. Realtors going to drop off like flies soon.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not going to be those deals. If you're a landlord, this isn't the time to increase your rent. It's a great time if you have cash to do the necessary repairs. If you're vacant, that's what I'm doing with 2 of my Airbnbs. I'm remodeling them right now because I'm getting day laborers pretty cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great time to, before, you couldn't get somebody. I'm getting some really skilled people that just have free time on their hands to take something rather than nothing. Be nice to your tenants. If your tenants cannot pay the full amount, I understand everybody's got a huge payment to make, but like my Section 8 rentals, they have to pay a portion of their rent. If for whatever reason they can't pay, it's not like I'm going to start evictions. I'll give them a payment plan to catch it up and something reasonable. My Section 8 rentals are generally 7 to 9 years term before they turn over. Fantastic. They always pay. It's like they pay off the property twice when I buy them.
Yeah.
Be nice to you. At Christmas, I go to all my Section 8 tenants, and if they've paid on time and they've been a great tenant, we give them a $200 Walmart or Target gift card for them to just get their kids' stuff or whatever. That's also the same time that I usually drop off 6 air filters for my HVAC so that I know that they're keeping my HVAC clean and running. If you rely on your tenants to do that, you're going to be replacing HVAC very often. So we drop off filters then at the same time. Don't try and raise your rents now. This isn't the time to change tenants. If your tenant's good, be nice.
Amen.
Keep them around. Wholesalers and investors have got to get into a creative mindset. If you're not in some of these creative groups, lease option groups, my mentor, Jonathan Rexford, he teaches lease option and sub twos. He's very reasonable. It's $20 a month to join his group. The value is he's a great resource. I still go to him. Called him the other day to go over a deal with him. Each deal is different. You're going to need somebody else's perspective, and he's been doing sub twos for 30 years, so he's fantastic. Dive into these groups now. If you don't understand creative deals, and start working. You're going to be out of the game if you're not doing creative deals in the next year.
Totally agree. All right. So the next group,
everybody, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the next group, let's assume you're new to the game. You don't own anything yet, but you've caught the real estate bug. You're excited. I call them vibrating, right? They're vibrating with excitement. What would you tell someone in that kind of spot right now? Let's assume they have money too. So let's take that off the table.
So are they new to investing or new to wholesale?
Let's do investing first, and then we'll do wholesaling second.
Okay. I think if you're new to investing, some people really don't get it. I have a cousin who jumped in and started investing with me 10 years ago, and he called me on the phone yesterday, and he goes, "Boy, there's this quad. It's super cheap, and I can pick it up for $150,000 cash." I'm like, "You are not putting your cash into that. Are you thinking about doing that? Don't spend your cash like that. Don't put your cash all into one deal. Creative deals, sub twos, lease options, owner finance. You can pick up 10 deals like that for that same cash.
Yep.
So don't go throwing your cash around. I think if you've got a great deal that comes on your plate that's like a 15 grand, yeah, you can pick that up for cash. But don't take a large chunk of your money and invest it right now.
Totally agree.
So, I did honestly in 2008. I had a really large amount of cash, And I was on auction.com buying a house every day, auction.com. And looking back on it, how much I could have leveraged a lot more if I had kind of changed my focus and done more lead generation for sub 2 deals and creative financing deals. You live and you learn.
Yeah.
Wholesaling the same way. There's going to be some people that are going to want some cash deals, but they're going to want those cheap ass.
Yeah.
If you're trying to wholesale a cash deal that's 170, 200,000, nobody's buying those.
Nope.
Get yourself, if you want to wholesale cash deals, go get in the hood and get some really cheap rock bottom ones, or learn how to do creative deals. Learn how to get sub 2s that you can assign, owner finance, lease option that you can assign.
Yeah.
Learn the strategies now. There's still money to be made. It's not like that. The market really, we know the investors and the wholesalers are going to drop off. You're going to see everybody who over leveraged in this market, they're going to start fading away.
Yeah.
So big opportunity if you did that.
Yeah.
If you did do that, don't be mad. Reorganize.
Exactly. Yeah, Lori, I couldn't agree more. I think we're about to see 50 to 70% of the wholesalers wash out. The flippers who were borrowing that non-standard debt fall out. And I'm really happy I sold my apartments and I got a bunch of cash because I'm going to do exactly what you said. Leverage
I sold 3 properties the month before this happened. I'm just like, it wasn't like I had any intuition or anything. I just really wanted to get rid of these 3. So I really got positioned cash-wise really quick. But I really don't think a lot of people are taking it seriously. They're too hopeful because they're too over-invested.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine that's an investor, he said, Lori, I got a house that's going on the market. I'm going to finish it at the beginning of June. I was like, can you finish it now? Why are you taking so long?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I ordered these custom cabinets. I was like, go to Lowe's, throw some cabinets in, get that shit on the market now while people are still hopeful. Yeah. He's like, what are you talking about? Put a contract to buy another 2. I was like, get out of it. Get out of it now. I just wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't be closing. Maybe if you're closing, if you've changed your numbers, but if you were buying at 70%, the equity's not going to be there in 3-4 months. I don't know. Last year, I think we dropped 35% in the past 3 weeks of new listings going on. The market, it's already taking a foot. There's still some people that are bullish and saying, I think it'll come back. It'll come back, but not anytime soon.
Yeah, the argument isn't will it come back. The argument's on the date. Is it, even what year it'll come back. So this has been so much fun.
I could be. Everybody thinks that they're pouring all this money in and that the market's going to jump back, and maybe I could be 100% wrong, but that's not the avenue I'm taking for my business. I'm preparing for worst case.
Yeah.
So
totally agree. So this has been so much fun. I'm glad we had to do this. I'm going to keep following you and see what's going on in your business. Any words on how people can follow you or see what you got going on?
No. I have a group, online and virtual wholesaling.
What is it?
Wish I would online and virtual wholesaling.
Oh, okay.
I don't do a lot in there. I probably should, but I do. I'll share news articles that are interesting or go over a deal that I think people will benefit from every now and then. But I have some great contributors. Jeff Falali comes in there and contributes. His information's a lot better than my most interesting things. Caleb Luketic is also, he's another person that contributes. He teaches you how to do SEO, Google. He does a lot of contributions in the group. So I'm not a good guru mentor kind of a person. So I don't follow it. I'm too old to do Twitter and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you and me both. I don't get it. Well, Lori, this has been so much fun. Thank you very much for your time. Just keep having fun.
Okay, thank you.
All right.